Hello there and welcome. This is Mikhail or Michael speaking, and as always before this video starts, I want to express my eternal gratitude towards those who decided to support me financially, be it through Patreon, PayPal or Super Thanks. I really appreciate your generosity, so thank you friends and have a blessed day. Now, today's video I will start with the Kharkiv front, or to be more specific, Kupiansk front line. In the last 24 hours, Russians continued their advance in the direction of Kupiansk. These attacks came all across this front line. In that time, they were able to advance along this key road to the flank of the settlement of Syn'kivka and capture this small portion of the fields. This recent Russian advancement goes in line with a report that I've received recently, and the report suggests that Russians decided not to attack the village of Syn'kivka directly. They report that Ukrainians had dug in it and are not willing to retreat, and decided to go around instead. Perhaps this Russian advance along this road is attributed to this change of tactic. Russians were also advancing to the other flank of Syn'kivka from Liman Pershий, as well as advancing from Vilshana across the open fields in the general direction of settlement Petropavlivka. Russian sources report relative success here in this sector, and they say that the settlement of Kupiansk is now about 6 kilometers away from them. They report that the advancements are now slow, but gradual and non-stop. Here, Ukrainians were able to stabilize the front line, have dug in heavily, and even allowed themselves to counterattack Russians on several portions of this front. As of right now, all these counterattacks are repelled, and they did nothing to stop Russian advancements. Generally, fighting continued all across this front. Russians also have made some attempts at advancing inside Kotlyarivka and Kislivka, however there are no territorial changes to report as of right now, and Russians were also advancing in the direction of Ivanivka and Stepova-Novoselivka. Then from here let's move to the bridgehead that the Russians were able to establish. The front line here is now stable and have not changed for several days. Here Russians continue to fight with Ukrainians for the control of settlement of Nadia and attack in the direction of Tverdokhlebovo in attempt to recover recently lost positions there. Ukrainians here also counterattack, and as a result of these actions, territory had not changed whatsoever. Situation within the Liman-Krymina front line remains to be the same as yesterday. Both Ukrainians and Russians are tangled in position of fighting here in this sector, with mostly artillery and drones being active here on this front. I have an interesting video for you coming from Belogorovka, in which you can see, as reports suggest, Ukrainian tanks coming under fire by Russian artillery and being destroyed. Then from here let's move to the Bakhmut settlement. Here, Ukrainians have yet again attempted at advancing in the direction of Dubovo-Vasilivka, Berkhivka, and settlement of Yagodne. Despite all efforts, these attacks failed, and Ukrainians were forced to retreat. Then let's move to the southern flank of Bakhmut and discuss situation around Klishivka. Yesterday, I showed you the video that you are now seeing on your screens. This video is of one Russian tank and two BMPs attacking in the direction of Klishivka. I reported that this attack was successful, and as a result of it, Russians were able to recover a small portion of Klishivka. However, a lot of people in my comment section had said that I was wrong, the video was misleading, the attack was actually unsuccessful, and these tanks were destroyed, and they even referred me to a specific YouTuber. As a proof that that attack was unsuccessful, they used this footage, which you can see on your screen. As you can see, there are several T-90M Prorыv battle tanks on the road, probably disabled, with some of other infantry fighting vehicles. They claimed that this was the result of this unsuccessful Russian attack. However, there is a problem. The video of T-90Ms was shared by a pro-Ukrainian source. The pro-Ukrainian source claimed that this video is coming from this sector right here. This is where these tanks are located. If we look at this map, we can see that Klishivka is 3 kilometers away from the location where these disabled Russian tanks are located, which begs a question. How did one Russian tank and two BMPs magically transformed into 3 tanks and 2 BMPs and teleported here 3 kilometers away from Klishivka? Now, again, this location of Russian tanks was geolocated by the Ukrainian side. So this is for those who claim that I reported false information. That attack happened and it was successful. So here was the small investigation that I've made. I hope it was more than convincing. If not, or you have something to add, please consider going to the comment section and telling me what you think of this situation. Then from here let's move to the Zaporozhian front line, to be more specific, Vremivka tactical bridgehead, which is located here. After Russians left Urozhaina, Ukrainians were continuously advancing within the settlement in attempt to take full control over it. The reason why they are unable to do so quickly is because they are subjected to Russian artillery strikes and counter-attacks. The latest report suggests that Russians are not sitting idle and constantly counter-attack Ukrainians within Staromayorsk and Urozhaina. Although these attacks were unsuccessful, they have prevented Ukrainians to advance further within the settlement of Urozhaina, and currently even pro-Ukrainian map doesn't confirm that Ukrainians have full control over the settlement. There were some Ukrainian assaults in the direction of Novodonetsk from Zlotaniva and Priyutne. Attacks in the direction of Priyutne came from Livadne, Novodarivka and Rivnopol. Like I said in my last video, I'm sure Ukrainians will increase pressure on the Russian flanks, especially now that there are several bridgeheads formed, which endanger Russian positions within these bridgeheads. It is highly unlikely Ukrainians will continue their assault in the direction of Zavidne Bazhanya and Staromlinivka, because it would make the bridgehead much bigger and will endanger Ukrainian forces advancing within it. Then from here let's move to the Orikhiv sector and discuss the situation around Rabotina and Verbove. In the last 24 hours, Ukrainians continued their assaults in the direction of this settlement. This map is not updated yet, but recent reports suggest that they were able to enter the settlement and advance as far as this line right here. Their troops were spotted somewhere near this building. Now, whatever Ukrainian forces are going in Rabotina, they are met with fierce Russian resistance. At this point in time, it is unclear how much territories Ukrainians are controlling within the settlement of Rabotina. But what's clear is that fighting here is still ongoing, with Ukrainians continuously assaulting Russian positions in and around the settlement in attempt to finally capture it. Then there is a situation around Verbova settlement. Ukrainians also try to advance here too, and at this point in time there is no reason or report to suggest that they were successful at that. Generally, the situation remains to be the same, as Ukrainians are advancing, be it in the direction of Novopokrovka, Verbove or Rabotina. They are subjugated to Russian artillery and are taking losses before entering the battlefield. For example, here on this video you can see Ukrainian armor being targeted and destroyed by Russian artillery. So this is it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please consider supporting it with a like, comment, and if you haven't subscribed, a subscription. As always, these actions not only help to promote this video to a wider audience, thus spreads the message, but also motivates me to work harder. Thank you in advance. As always, humanity calls me to condemn all violence against human beings. Have a good day, and always remember, Russia will be free and great.